Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to Ampersand Unique Gifts and Home Decor. This is Sarah. Today I'm going to share with you what was sort of an epiphany, an aha moment. And we've said this before, but putting it all into this space is why I wanted to bring you along with me. So I think that thrifting, goodwilling, yard selling, whatever you call it, is not the same hobby as upcycling, reselling, repurposing, whatever it is that you do. And I think that sometimes we get overwhelmed with the projects that we have. So what do? We go shopping. We get the thrill, the high of finding that great deal. So what happens is we then have an extensive stash or hoard. And then we need to figure out how to get that down, because then we find ourselves making commitments. I promise not to buy anything until I get rid of this, and you know the story. So what I'm going to do today is actually show you how you can upcycle some of your items without it being so overwhelming and doing it just in a very short time. So what I'm going to do today is take a handful of very simple projects, show you how to upcycle them without ever getting a paintbrush out, and just being able to give them an entirely fresh new look without the need to go wash paint off your hands. So stick with me, see what we can do, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks. All right, so we're going to start with our pile of goodies. I have a galvanized bucket, an old metal dustpan, a natural riser, a thrifted jar with a copper lid, and an old vintage travel case. So the first thing I want to do is clean everything really well. You don't want any kind of residue or anything on your items that's going to keep your transfer from adhering smoothly. This is actually a Dollar Tree galvanized bucket, and I used acetone to remove the lettering that was on there. I think it says Flowers and Gardens, and that acetone takes it right off and leaves it smooth. So I'm using the new IOD Ephemeral Transfer, and it is different flower, like vintage catalogs from the 1800s. It's pages out of there. Then there's some things that look like old seed packets. There's some tags. It looks like it would be a tag on, maybe if you bought a plant in the 1800s, it would be a tag hanging on it. And then there are some little mini shrunk down catalog pages. And there is one that is absolutely the perfect size for my bucket here. So what I actually do is pick what I'm going to use on each one of them, cut them out, and lay them with the item, and then I get going. So using the plastic stick that comes with each of the IOD transfers, I am going to use it to press down and adhere my transfer. One of the great things about IOD is that they do come with these plastic sticks. Some of the other transfer makers have what's more like a thin wood popsicle stick, which doesn't work as well, in my opinion, as these plastic ones. I think IOD just has the best products. So what I'm doing is cutting, and I'm not cutting the transfer, I'm just cutting the plastic in between all of where the transfer is, because this is a curved surface and I want to be able to roll it flat without any bubbles or overlapping. And I learned a lesson in this that, well, I say I learned a lesson. You can see me continue to not do it here, but since this video, I actually have been better about it. You really should tape down your transfer. It holds it in place until you're ready to remove the plastic. And I got lazy and in a hurry, and you'll see why you should tape it on a different product that is in this video later. So again, I'm just rubbing it down, adhering it, making sure that everywhere is connected. I like to give it a good rub in the middle just to kind of connect it. And then I'm going to make sure that I get all of the outside edges before I really start trying to pick up that plastic off of there. Once you have it off, the plastic off, then I use it to burnish the transfer. I rub it with that plastic piece, making sure that if there's any bubbles up underneath there, that I have pushed it down and that all of the transfer is touching and adhered to the surface. So switching to my little glass jar, I am cleaning it with the same acetone that I use to wipe off the lettering on the bucket. And then I put my transfer on there. This is where I really should have taped it. I got ahead of myself. I got to scrubbing on it, and the plastic pulled up and the transfer stuck to itself, and I am missing the bottom right corner. You'll see where it's okay. I go ahead and sand around all the edges to fix it. So in the end, it came out okay, but it would have been a lot better had I taped it. So I didn't know how well the transfer would actually stick to this raw wood. You can see the transfer was a little bit bigger than my surface area, so I cut the top off. I will still use it. I'm just going to kind of change it around so that it overlaps. So that's one of the awesome things about the IOD transfers. You don't have to use it exactly the way they have it laid out. You can cut pieces apart. You can use part of them. You can overlap them so that you can still see all of it in just a smaller area. So I'm going to line this out. This is one of the pages that is from a catalog. It says 1892 on the top. And it's actually from a florist in Louisville, Kentucky. So that is local for me. And the florist itself still exists. So I thought this was really cool, really fun to use on this riser that I'm going to be taking to a local market. And I think it'll be neat for people to see that and actually see the Nance logo. And it's Nance and Newman here. It is now Nance and Craft. So while it's still in existence and a very popular florist, the one that I use when I'm sending flowers, local in Louisville, and it's just partnered with somebody different. So again, it stuck really, really well to this raw wood. I was so excited. I sealed it with a food safe hemp oil. And I don't think anybody would really put just food directly on here, but I wanted to make sure that since it was a riser and it might be in the kitchen, that it was food safe. So again, I used a food safe hemp oil and sealed it all down. After, what I'm doing here is the illustrated catalog is the part that didn't stick. So we're switching over to the metal dustpan, and I am using a different transfer. This is a retired IOD transfer, so you'll see that it's still in the big long tube format as opposed to the booklet style that they do now. But this was actually one of my favorite transfers, and I'm so sad that they retired it. But I'm going to take advantage of the flowers here that kind of have that orangey copper middle, and I think it's just going to be perfect for this copper dustpan. One of the things, again, you can cut these apart, but it has these grid lines, which make it really easy to go ahead and know where you're cutting. I wanted to go with a style here where it's layered, so part of the design is going to be on the top lip of the dustpan, and part of it is going to be down inside the dustpan part. So I'm figuring out how to cut it and how to lay it. I'm kind of folding it around so I know where to cut, so that when you look at it straight on, you might not even notice that there was an opening. And so just trying to be creative. You can do all kinds of things with these IOD transfers. And I think I may actually do a video on applying transfers to unique, odd-shaped objects. The dustpan might have been a good one to include in that. But again, here you can see I'm folding it just to kind of get an idea of where I need to cut it. Now, on this particular item, I told a little fib in the beginning intro because I said you didn't have to get a paintbrush out or do anything else to it. And with this one, what I figured out was, even though I had cleaned it, that copper color that was not, it was not completely clean. Around the lip, it stuck perfectly, but down inside, it pulled up some of that copper color. And I ended up having to use the DIY Crystal Clear Chandelier Liquid Patina to seal it. That's what I had, and so that's what I went ahead and used. And I sealed it
to get that nice matte finish so it didn't look like it had a seal or a shiny. It still looked as original, but I had to do that to get my transfer to stick. When I first laid it down, it tried to pick all that up. When I went back and did it, and then again sealing it with that same liquid patina afterward will keep that in there. It's stuck really well and is sealed, so you don't have to worry about it coming back up, even though I did experience that in the beginning. So what you'll see here is just I'm going around the outside edge and putting that on there, and then I'm gonna lay it all down, figure out exactly where I need to put it so that I can cut it again, so that when you're looking at it head on, and you'll see in the pictures in the end, that when you first look at it, it actually looks like it's all one complete piece. So it was really fun. This one was a great idea, and of course I'm not expecting that somebody's going to be using it as a dustpan. You could. I mean, like I said, those are sealed in there, and you could still use it as a dustpan, but I'm figuring it's going to be decor, as it is this old metal, I guess retro, I'm not sure vintage, but retro at least, dustpan. But anyway, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this one finished. So the last piece is this adorable vintage suitcase. I love the green. I'm using the entomology transfer. I've cut several items out that I want to put on here. And because of this green, I'm kind of going with an outdoors garden-like theme with the butterflies and the flowers. And so I clean it really well, and making sure again that there's not anything on here that could keep my transfers from adhering to the surface. And then I just begin to add them. As you saw, I had them all laid out where I wanted them. So here I'm just going to go ahead and add all of them all around there. Add some bugs, some butterflies, some flowers. And I really, really love how this one turned out. I think it is so cute. I'm not going to do anything to the inside of it. It's still very clean in there. But I really was excited with how all of these items turned out. And overall, it didn't take me an hour to complete all of these.
You got me feeling kind of crazy. You got me feeling like my head is spinning round. The way you look is so amazing, amazing. I could stare into your eyes for hours and hours. Everything is kind of hazy. We're just dancing in the dark in the flashing lights. I know you can't hear what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna hold you closer. You take me higher when we're together. It feels like you set my whole world on fire. I know I want you.